Oh my God. Please, please, please. I don't give a dang what no one says. Oh, it's going to be split. It's split. It's split. Oh my gosh. 29-28 Hamza. 29. 29-27. 28-28. Split. Yes. Hamza 29-27. That's a. Yeah! Yeah! Yeah, bro. He's in trouble. And oh, big uppercut drops Aliskarov. And this is going to be it. It's over. Robert Whittaker. What I tell you, baby. What I tell you. He's lucky it ain't Hamza. Ooh, nice right by Topuria. Look out. Volk felt that one. Oh, Volkanovski goes down. He's out. It's over. Oh, my God. Ilia Topuria KO'd Volkanovski, and the run is over. And no. Final 13 seconds of this fight. What an incredible fight here. We're in the final. There's a tap. There's a tap. Oh, look at Max. He's saying they're standing right in the middle. He don't care. Look at this. He's standing. Oh, he drops Gaethje with 1 second left. Max Holloway finishes Gaethje with 1 second left, bro. This will go down as the most epic performance in UFC history. I'm telling you right now.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege. Privilege.
Yeah, buddy, let's go. We have made it. Welcome to the TCMMA podcast. I'm your host, Chris Cross. And I almost forgot the intro because I'm so excited. I could not wait to get to this week. Topuria versus Holloway, UFC 308, Hamza Chimaev versus Robert Whittaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Super Bowl weekend for the UFC. Make no mistake about it. I mean, this is Super Bowl. Can't say Super Bowl Sunday because it's on a Saturday, but this is Super Bowl weekend for the UFC.
Whoa!
And I know everyone's excited, but I don't know if anyone's more excited than I am. I mean, Hamza Chimaev is finally fighting in 6 days?
Yes! Yes!
I'll tell you what. And it's in Abu Dhabi. I mean, the crowd's going to be going crazy.
They're going crazy.
So you got Hamza there. You got Topuria versus Holloway. We're going to get into all these predictions throughout the show. And maybe, just maybe, on Saturday night, we'll hear.
And new.
You know, that's what we got to hear.
And new.
Can Holloway get the job done? Are we going with Max Holloway? That remains to be seen. You know, I got these two both, Topuria and Holloway, in the top 10 of the dude list. We got Hamza Chimaev at number 1. So more on the dude list later. But this is Super Bowl weekend. Fellas, just give your women all the money this weekend. Let them go shopping. Let them do what they got to do, unless they watch UFC. But if they don't, it's going to be a rough weekend for you, because this is not like happening from 12 to 2 a.m. or from 10 to like 1 or 2 a.m. as we're accustomed to. I mean, this thing starts at 10 a.m. So you're going to be waking up watching UFC until about 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. So you might have to do what you got to do and spend some money, because you're going to be tied up this weekend. You are going to be tied up. College football, UFC, this is Super Bowl weekend, especially for the UFC. But listen, let's waste no time. We got a lot of fight predictions to get into. Let's get into the first one here in the prelims. You got Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Chris Barnett. Check this out. In the heavyweight division at UFC 308, you got Kennedy Nzechukwu taking on Chris Barnett. And this is a highly interesting fight. It always is when it's the heavyweight division. Now Kennedy 12-5, Barnett 23-8, Nigeria versus Spain. Huge height difference, right? Kennedy is 6'5". He's very tall for a heavyweight. Chris Barnett is very short. He's 5'9", So, I mean, you're looking at about 8 inches in height difference here. Now, Kennedy's 32, Chris Barnett's 38, right? So he's getting up there. Kennedy with an 8-inch reach advantage, 83 to 75. He fights left-handed. Barnett fights right-handed. Kennedy lands over 5 significant strikes per minute. Chris Barnett right at 4.4, so not a huge difference, maybe 10 significant strikes over the fight. Kennedy can land takedowns like once every 5 rounds, so it's not even a given that this fight will go to the ground. Now, Kennedy's lost 2 in a row to OSP over in St. Preux by split decision, although he was dominated in that fight, 143 to 106. He also lost to Dustin Jacoby by KO, so he's lost 2 in a row. Not a good look. Chris Barnett, on the other hand, beat Jay Collier by KO. Lost to Martin Budai by decision and beat Gian Vellante by KO. I'm assuming Kennedy's going to be the favorite, although it's not up here just yet. But I'm still going to lean with Chris Barnett either way. I mean, the guy's short, but he's powerful. It's going to be hard to connect on Kennedy, but if he does, Kennedy's going down. Kennedy's going to use his reach, obviously, 8-inch reach advantage, to keep the distance from him and Barnett. And that's going to be a problem for Barnett, but I think Barnett still catches him. Even if he's being dominated in this fight, he's going to catch him in the 2nd or 3rd round. That's my opinion here. Chris Barnett wins with the 24-8 heavyweight division, UFC 308. Yeah, so you got a good one there in the prelims. There's a lot of good fights in this prelims, but that's the way we like this one to go down. I mean, Chris Barnett is short. I don't think he's going to win the strike battle because he's going to be swinging for the fences, but he's going to catch Kennedy at some point in this fight. Make no mistake about it. So we got Chris Barnett getting the job done in that one. Now in the next one, and you got a few on this card, you got a banger of a fight between Abus Magomedov versus Bruno Ferreira. Both guys really, really good. And this is going to be a crowd pleaser for sure. So let's jump into this right now and keep it rolling. In the middleweight division at UFC 308, you got Abu Magomedov taking on Bruno Ferreira. And this is going to be a highly interesting fight and a good test, really, for both guys. Magomedov 26-6. He's from Germany. Ferreira from Brazil, 12-1. Magomedov is going to be 4 inches taller. He's 6'2". He's 34. Ferreira 31. So both guys kind of still right in that prime window. Magomedov 6-inch reach advantage. Both guys stand right-handed. In terms of this activity and strike game, that leans to Ferreira, nearly 5 significant strikes per minute to 2.9 for Abu. But the takedown game slides to Abu Magomedov with nearly 1 takedown per round. Now Ferreira's got a 60% takedown defense. That's not great. And he's going to have to up that number to win this fight. Magomedov beat Warley Alves in his last fight by decision on 6 takedowns, just straight control. Prior to that, he lost to Kyle Barajo by decision, but that's important that he went to a decision. Lost to Sean Strickland by KO, so he's had some tough fights and beat Dustin Stoltzfus by KO. So he ran into a wall in the upper echelon of the division, but beats everyone else, right? Ferreira beat Dustin Stoltzfus too by KO. Beat Phil Hawes by KO. Was KO'd by Nursultan Ruziboev, a good fighter. Beat Gregory Robocop Rodriguez, a good fighter, by KO. So this is going to be a highly interesting fight. Abu wasn't impressive against Kyle Barajo, but taking it to a decision tells me a lot. And again, I do not like to go against Brazilians. I usually pay for it, but in this one, I got to go with Abus Magomedov. He's clearly the better fighter in this one. Not so much on the feet, but on the ground. He's going to be relentless with takedowns. Ferreira can go to the ground too, but he can't stop the takedowns with terrible takedown defense. So I like the German, Abus Magomedov, to get the win and move to 27-6 by decision and control time here in the middleweight division at UFC 308. Yeah, and what it comes down to is, and again, I don't usually go against the Brazilians. In fact, I'm kicking myself every time I lose a prediction and the Brazilian comes out on top. I'm like, Chris Cross, what were you thinking? You know better. But Abus Magomedov has something to prove in this one, and that means a lot, right? When a guy's got something to prove, he's more likely to get the job done. So that's the way we have that one going down. Now the next one, and every fight on this card is highly interesting. I mean, please believe it. This is a bantamweight banger. You got Said Nurmagomedov, 18-3, taking on another Brazilian, 12-2. It's going to be a conflict for me. Let's get into this pick right now. In the bantamweight division at UFC 308, you got Said Nurmagomedov taking on Daniel Santos, a guy we haven't seen in over a year. Nurmagomedov 18-3, Santos 12-2. This is Russia versus Brazil. Said 1 inch taller, 5'8". He's 32. Santos 29. Said's got a 3-inch reach advantage. Both guys stand right-handed. Now, Said's not much of a striker, just 3.5 significant strikes per minute to Santos' 4.3. And in terms of the takedown game, both guys can land like a takedown or two every 3 rounds. Said has been almost unstoppable since entering the UFC. He's won 5 of his last 6, only losing to Jonathan Martinez by decision. And he outstruck him by 9 significant strikes, had 3 takedowns to none, and 2 submission attempts. Still lost the fight, or else he'd be on a 6-fight win streak. So the guy is absolutely tough. Now, Santos lost his UFC debut to Julio Arce in dominant fashion. But since then, he beat John Castaneda by KO and Johnny Munoz by decision. But is he on the level of Said? I don't think so. And it's rare to go against a Brazilian, but this one is just too much. I mean, Said is just going to overwhelm Daniel Santos throughout the fight, in my opinion, with both the takedown game, takedown defense. He might trail in significant strikes, but he'll have enough opportunities on the ground to clearly get the unanimous decision victory, in my opinion, to move to 19-3 here. Bantamweight division, UFC 308. Wow, so in back-to-back fights, we're going up against the Brazilians, and that's tough to say the least. I'm probably going to be kicking myself in one or maybe both of these fights because the Brazilians are very tough to take down. Even when it looks like they're going to lose, they find ways to win, but not this time. I got to go against the Brazilians in both of these fights, and Daniel Santos will not get the win in this one. It's going to be Said Nurmagomedov. I mean, the guy's 18-3. He's ridiculous, Russian, and you know how good they are. Now, again, I'm going to keep saying this up and down the card. The next one is a lightweight banger. Lightweight division needs no introduction. We already know how tough this division is, no matter who's fighting. It's always a tough fight. But in this one, you got Mateusz Rebecki, 19-2 versus Mikhailbek Oralbai, who comes in at 13-1. So who knows how this fight's going to play out because both guys are really good. I mean, both guys are really good. So let's get into this one right now. In the lightweight division at UFC 308, you got a big one here between Mateusz Rebecki and Mikhailbek Oralbai. Both guys on the come up in one of the best divisions in the UFC. So let's dive right in. Rebecki 19-2, Oralbai 13-1. Oralbai's the favorite, but hold on, let's get into it first. Oralbai 3 inches taller, 5'10". He's just 26. Rebecki right in the middle of the prime at 31. Oralbai almost a 10-inch reach advantage. That's like unheard of. You don't see that. 76 to 66. Rebecki's left-handed. Oralbai right-handed, so opposite stance. Rebecki's more active on the feet. 4.7 significant strikes per minute. I say that's going to hold up here. Oralbai 3 significant strikes per minute. So big advantage for Rebecki on the feet. But Oralbai over 2 takedowns, almost 2.5 takedowns per round. You're looking at 5 takedowns in 2 rounds. Rebecki gets more than 1 per round, so something's got to give here, right? Now, beginning with Rebecki, 33% takedown defense. Coming off the loss to Diego Ferreira by KO. Beat Roosevelt Roberts by submission and KO'd Loic Razabov. So that was a setback against Diego Ferreira, who's a good fighter. He did have 4 takedowns in that fight against 3 for Ferreira, but got dominated on the feet by 70 significant strikes. Oralbai 50% takedown defense. Beat Elvis Brenner by decision. Dominated with 5 takedowns. Gave up 3. Against Uros Medic, dominated. Right? That surprised a lot of people. Led to a submission victory, 7 takedowns. So you have complete control with takedowns by way of Oralbai, or else I'd be forced to go with Rebecki, who I think beats everybody outside the top 5 and not named Mikhailbek Oralbai. So this is a very tough prediction to make, but I got to go with Oralbai looking at everything. He's lacking on the feet, but he's so relentless with takedowns. Rebecki's got something to prove here, and he might very well do it, and I won't be upset because I like Mateusz Rebecki, but in terms of the prediction, I got to go with Oralbai to get the job done. You're landing over, 2.5 takedowns per round. That means you're definitely getting 1, And now if you can just hold it to the ground and dominate there, you're going to win the fight. And that's probably what's going to happen, even if he's got to land 2 or 3 per round. But he'll move to 14-1, in my opinion, in the very, very tough, always lightweight division at UFC 308. Yeah, and I saw this one coming up as we were doing the predictions the other day, and I said, oh yeah, Matus Rebecki's winning. I mean, this guy hardly ever loses. Then you start to peek at the matchup, and you're like, wait a minute. Oralbai just goes for takedowns relentlessly. I mean, in pursuit the whole fight, and if he can't get him, he's going to shoot for 20 takedowns. I mean, so Matus Rebecki's just going to have nearly 90% takedown defense to have a chance to win this fight. And when you consider that, you're like, okay, that's probably not going to happen. And Oralbai is going to land takedowns throughout the fight. So therefore, we got Oralbai winning this one. Now, in the prelim main event, and this is always big heading into the pay-per-view after this, you got a big one here in the welterweight division. Jeff Neal, who's surging right now, takes on RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos. Let's get into this welterweight banger right now. In the welterweight division at UFC 308, you got Jeff Neal taking on RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos. And this is always an interesting fight, especially when RDA is in the mix, because he's a tough out. Let's be honest. He's a Brazilian. He's very good, and he's got nearly 50 fights under his belt. Jeff Neal 15-6, RDA 32-16. Neal 3 inches taller, 5'11". He's 34. RDA 39, right around the 40 age. So not much time left for him. Neal 5-inch reach advantage. Both guys stand left-handed. Interesting. Don't see that too often. Neal 5 significant strikes per minute. RDA 3.5. And RDA lands like 2 takedowns every 3 rounds. Neal's trying to keep it standing, or he's got an advantage. That's why they call him the hands of steel, right? 87% takedown defense. He's going to need every bit of that in this one. Lost to Ian Machado Gary, but by split decision. Okay. Lost to Shavkat Rakhmonov by submission. Man, he's fighting some dudes, huh? Those are the 2 up-and-comers right now in the division. Beat Vicente Luque by KO. Santiago Ponzinibbio by split decision. The key here is that the last 4 fights have been ridiculous, and I didn't even realize that for Jeff Neal. That's incredible. RDA lost to Mateusz Gamrot by decision. Vicente Luque by decision. Did you hear that? But he beat Brian Barberino. So this is an easy one. I was already leaning against RDA and for Jeff Neal, but also the fact they got a common opponent, which RDA lost and Jeff Neal won. Yeah, I got to go with Jeff Neal in this one. You know, he's got to defend the takedowns, but he does that well. Keep the fight standing. He's going to land over a significant strike and a half per minute. So you're looking at what, 15 plus some. So he's going to be up 25 significant strikes by the end of the fight. So he's got a big advantage here and should easily win 2 rounds out of 3 to get the dub to move to 16-6 welterweight division, UFC 308. Yeah, so very interesting fight here. I mean, you know, you got a surging Jeff Neal versus a guy in RDA who's always capable of winning. I mean, number one, he's Brazilian, and we win against all three Brazilians in the prelims. So we're probably going to be kicking ourselves in 1 or 2 of these 3 fights. But Jeff Neal is surging. He's looked good lately. He's got the momentum, and this is a fight that he's got to go in and not necessarily finish RDA, but he's got to get the victory. And I think it's going to be by decision if I had to guess. But yeah, look for Jeff Neal to win that one. Now, as we move forward, we have arrived to the pay-per-view, to the main card. In the middleweight division, another banger. A lot of middleweight bangers on this one. Undefeated Shara Magomedov versus 9-3 Armen Petrosyan. And I can't stress how big this fight is. I mean, this fight is going to be ridiculous. And it seems like Shara just fight. So is he going to be able to rebound pretty quickly? Maybe it's a few months back, but it seems like 2 months ago he fought. Maybe it's a little longer. But let's get into it right now. In the middleweight division at UFC 308, you got Shara Magomedov taking on Armen Petrosyan. This is the first fight in the main card. Now Shara, 14-0. We just saw him recently. Armen Petrosyan, 9-3. So he's got a lot of work cut out for him in this one. Petrosyan, 1 inch taller. He's 33. Magomedov, 30. Magomedov, 2 inch reach advantage, 73-71. Both guys stand right-handed. Shara, nearly 7 significant strikes per minute. But Petrosian, not bad himself at 5.7. So it's within reach. Neither guy's wanted to go to the ground, at least so far. It looks like in their career. Petrosian's had one, though. Magomedov, 71% takedown defense. Makes it more likely the fight's going to stay standing. Beat McCall Alexichuk in a tough fight by unanimous decision back in August. So just 2 months ago. He also beat Antonio Tricoli by KO and beat Bruno Silva, a tough fighter, in the middleweight division for sure, by decision. And he had 3 takedowns on Magomedov, but Magomedov led 113-65. That's why he has such a high significant strike average. The guy can bring it on the feet. Petrosian lost to Rodolfo Vieira in his last fight by submission. So that was kind of an outlier because a guy like Vieira, you know, he can submit you. Beat CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan by decision, and AJ Dobson by decision. 2 fights where he dominated on the feet, but lost to Kyle Barajo, who has turned out to be a really good fighter. So is Shara as good as Kyle Barajo? Maybe, but Barajo is really good, so not quite sure. But he's still better than Armen Petrosian. I mean, you know, Petrosian's going to be getting better every time you see him. But, you know, to me, this is not as tough as a fight for Shara as the last one was. So I think he's just going to come in there and dominate on the feet. Probably won't get the finish, but he'll dominate on the feet and get the victory that way. It's a pretty simple prediction for me. They're not always this easy. But Shara wins to move to 15-0. Middleweight division, first fight in the main card, pay-per-view time at UFC 308. Yeah, and Shara's last fight was very difficult. It just doesn't seem like Armen Petrosian is going to put up a fight like his last opponent, who it seemed like Shara might lose, but he ended up pulling out the victory. Obviously, he's undefeated at 14-0. So, you know, we can't go against him against a 9-3 fighter, despite somewhat of a quick turnaround for him. He's still going to get the job done. I mean, this guy is ridiculously good. You don't get to 14-0 if you're not good. That's the bottom line. Now, for everyone in the chat room, stay patient. We're getting to Hamza soon. We're at fight 4. Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic, light heavyweight banger, light heavyweight showdown. Alexander Rakic, a guy that looked like he was going to be fighting for the title before the injury, came back and got a loss, but all of them get a loss in their first fight back. But this is his second fight. So how will he respond against a very tough Magomed Ankalaev who believes he should be fighting for the title, right? And he probably should be. But the bottom line is he's got to get some key victories. I mean, he's got to get some key victories. And this is where it begins. So let's get into this one right now. In the light heavyweight division at UFC 308, you got Magomed Ankalaev, who thinks he should be fighting for the title. Might not be wrong. But we'll find out as he takes on Alexander Rakic. And this is a big-time fight. Of course, Ankalaev wants to win. He's 19-1. He wants to fight for the title, but he's got to put on a good performance. Rakic was, you know, rising to the top, was at the top before the injury, came back, got the loss. He's 14-4. So we'll break this thing down. Rakic 1 inch taller at 6'4". He's 32. So is Ankalaev. Rakic 3-inch reach advantage. Believe it or not, both guys stand right-handed. Rakic 4.3 significant strikes per minute. Ankalaev just 3.6. So he's not very active and excited. He can land like a takedown once every 3 rounds. Rakic gets one like every 4. Digging deeper into Ankalaev, he's got an 86% takedown defense, so that's going to keep the fight standing if he wants to, or allow him to land takedowns. We'll look at Rakic's takedown defense in just a moment, but Ankalaev's coming off the win against Johnny Walker. He had a no contest before that and a draw against Jan Blachowicz, and that was for the title. So he's had his opportunity. He's trying to get back up there, right? He should have won against Blachowicz, though. 78-55 in significant strikes, 2 takedowns to none. But say he gets 120 significant strikes in that fight, he probably wins it convincingly. So he still has a lot to prove before he can get back to a title fight, I think. And I totally get where Dana White is coming from here. Rakic, 85% takedown defense. So that allows him to keep the fight standing where he has a little bit of an advantage. But he's lost 2 fights now. He lost to Jan Blachowicz. So keep that in mind. In 2022 by KO. Then came back and lost to Yuri Prochazka. after the long layoff due to injury, and we've seen a lot of guys lose when they come back. He lost by KO, so he's lost the last two. He hasn't won since Thiago Santos back in March of 2021. So it's been a long time. But really, the only one you need to look at is Yuri Prochazka. Most recently, that fight, right, back in April. So you're looking at like 7, 8 months ago, not that long ago. And he didn't look great, but he's going to be better in this fight. Is he on the level of Magomed Ankalaev? I don't think so, man. I think Ankalaev is going to be a tough out for anybody. Yeah, he may not be exciting, but this guy is going to find ways to win. He's a big dude, powerful. He's going to win this fight. Unless Rakic just surprises everybody. I mean, I believe most people think Ankalaev is going to win this fight, as I do. He's going to move to 20-1. And how's he going to do it? Who knows? Because Rakic has great takedown defense. Ankalaev isn't the best striker, but he limits his opponent. That's the key. So you look at the average of Rakic and you say, okay, that's coming down. Ankalaev's going to land a little bit more. He's going to win this fight here. Again, in my opinion, they move to 20-1. Light heavyweight division. Main event. Main card, I should say. Not main event. Slow down. Main card at UFC 308. Yeah, it's just, I can't see Magomed Ankalaev losing this fight. He's on an upward trajectory to face Alex Pereira. And I know Alex Pereira is not wanting to fight him. He just doesn't think it's an interesting fight or a fight that he should have to take, but he's going to be forced to take it because Ankalaev is going to continue winning. And he should have had the belt. I mean, it wasn't a great performance against Jan Blachowicz, but he did win that fight. The split draw was just amazing. It should have never went that way. But yeah, Ankalaev wins this fight, and I think he recognizes he's got to be a little more exciting, and he's got to look to finish opponents. And we'll see if he can do that against Rakic. Now, as we move forward, fight 3, featherweight division. This is a big one too. Definitely a big fight. You got Lerone Murphy taking on Dan 50K Ige. Let's get into this one right now. In the featherweight division at UFC 308, this fight goes down in the main card. You got always tough Lerone Murphy taking on always tough Dan 50K Ige. So you got to like this fight, right? Lerone Murphy 14-0. Has a 1 draw, but he's undefeated. Dan Ige 18-8. Let's get right into it. Lerone Murphy from England. Is 2 inches taller than Dan Ige, the American. They're both 33. Lerone Murphy has a 3-inch reach advantage. Both guys stand right-handed. In terms of activity, that's Lerone Murphy over 5 significant strikes per minute to 3.7 for Ige. So you're looking at like 20 significant strike difference over the course of 3 rounds should it go that far. Also, Murphy lands like a takedown every other round. Dan Ige gets 1 every 3 rounds. So that's going to be a big difference. Takedown defense will be everything. Lerone Murphy not great at 46%. Dan Ige not great either at 59%, but that's a little bit more respectable. But let's be honest, Lerone Murphy is going to be shooting for takedowns when he gets opportunities. This guy has not lost. He had a draw against Zubaira Tukhugov, split draw in his first ever UFC fight. Did not look great at all in that fight, giving up 6 takedowns. Since then, he's been impeccable, winning 6 straight, including the last one, which is a major surprise, over Edson Barboza, 220 significant strikes to 79. I just can't believe that. 4 takedowns to none. Before that, he beat Koulibaly 59-23 in terms of activity. Gabriel Santos, 93-69. Right, he had a KO against Marquand Mirkani. He beat Douglas Silva de Andrade. He had just 48 significant strikes in that one. So he's moving up in terms of the activity, starting to get separation from his opponents, and he's at the prime age, right? So to me, he's right where he wants to be at this point in his career. Plus, he's got a lot of wins to back him with no losses. Ige, on the other hand, lost to Diego Lopez by decision. Lost to Bryce Mitchell by decision. Beat Andre Fili by KO. This one's easy to me. We don't need to go any further. I mean, Lerone Murphy's a 2-1 favorite. He probably should be 4-1. But Dan Ige is that good. He's proven to be a tough out. He stepped in on short notice in the last fight. Looked really good. So, they're giving Dan Ige some respect, as they should. But Lerone Murphy is for real, man. This guy has not lost yet. Yeah, he's moving up to a higher level. Make no mistake about it. But he's still going to win the fight. And, you know, beating Edson Barboza in the last one should show you that. If you don't know or understand who Edson Barboza is, he's, you know, at one time seemed to be rising up to the top, right? Getting a little older now, but still very good. And for Lerone Murphy to dominate him with 220 significant strikes shows you that when he finds his stride, catches his stride, he's going to be a problem. And he's right about that time at 33 years old. So look for Murphy to win this thing wherever it goes, but most likely more on the feet to move to 15-0, likely by decision. Should dominate here. Featherweight division, UFC 308. Yeah, so that's an easy one for us. I mean, Lerone Murphy's undefeated. Got to go with the guy. He's got to get the win. And he had that split draw, but, you know, that was just a setback. First fight in the UFC, you got to let that go. He's been unstoppable ever since. No reason not to take him in this one. So Lerone Murphy to get the win and remain undefeated. Now, as we jump into the co-main event, this is the Super Bowl for your boy Chris Cross. Huge Khamzat Chimaev fan, so the prediction in this one is not in doubt. This is going to be an absolutely great fight against a real fighter in Robert Whittaker, the toughest fight of Khamzat's career. And that's including fights against Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman. Those are nothing compared to this one. And we see in the chat room, we got Homework weighing in, Kenneth Bruner weighing in. Y'all hang out. We're going to come back to the chat room for sure, especially after we get done with this prediction. But first, let's talk about how we got here. This is what it sounded like. Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat back at UFC 294. Oh, that would be terrible. No draw.
I mean, after the last fight,
Oh my goodness, dude, this is.
Well, no, it ain't gonna be.
My stomach's feeling better, but not totally there yet to this decision, man. Gosh, everybody out there, this is gonna be scary again. This is gonna be scary again. Fans are cheering a little bit, but no one knows what's gonna happen. I mean, they're both swinging. I don't know. I mean,
I feel like it's gonna be split decision.
Yeah, split.
oh God, here we go. Wow. Oh my goodness. And what you're learning is Khamzat isn't invincible, and Usman is as good as he always been. So I know we need 2 more rounds. Yeah. When Khamzat's got to go 5 potentially, that's going to get real interesting. Oh my God! Please, please, please! I don't give a dang what no one says. Oh, it's going to be split. It's split. It's split. Oh my gosh! 29-28 Khamzat. 29. 29-27. 28-28. Split. Yes. Khamzat 29-27. That's a. Yeah! Yeah! Yeah, bro! Oh, God. 29-28, 29-27, and 28-28, I think.
Yeah, it was 28-28.
Wow. I'll figure out the 29-27 later, but yeah, so a judge gave him a 10-8 in the first round. That sealed it. Bruce, don't ever do that again, man. Made us think it was a split decision. 13-0 Khamzat. I don't care what none of y'all say. Like I said at the beginning, I don't care what nobody says. He just got to win. He got the win. Thank gosh, man. 7 straight UFC wins. Islam Makhachev #1 at 12. But yeah, Khamzat, baby, gets the win. Just like I told you would. Peace. Yeah, definitely nervous for that one, man, for that decision, because as it turned out, he hurt his arm, right? So he dominated Usman in the first round, taking him down for like 4.5 minutes, and then looked real sluggish in the next 2 rounds because he was fighting with one hand and still got the win. That's just crazy. Then he was supposed to take on Robert Whittaker, but had to pull out due to sickness. And then Robert Whittaker took on Ikram, and this is how this one came to be. And here we go, Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov, full fight reaction. We're here, whether it's 1 minute or 5 rounds, we'll see. Both fighters touch gloves. Robert Whittaker, mean mugging as always. And this is your main event, middleweight division at UFC Saudi Arabia. And again, regardless of what happens here, all the credit to Robert Whittaker. This is a number 3 contender who's given Hamza a chance. Hamza can't go. He's given an unranked fighter an opportunity, and he's ever the fighter. And when these guys do this, I have to become a fan of Whittaker, you know, regardless of what happens here. Just because he was willing to take these fights, it didn't matter who. You know, fights underway. Robert Whittaker knows he's not in title contention right at this minute, but if you take fights like this, it goes a long way. And the crowd sounding a lot louder now, much like a soccer game, for this fight, as they've been quiet the past two, just because they haven't had really anyone to cheer for, which is crazy. First 30 seconds gone, and you know, you're already getting the look of a potential 5-round fight, right? Because it's starting out very slow. And which guy will go for it first? Whittaker lands a leg kick, and it was countered by a combination by Aliskerov. And those odds are coming closer and closer to even as this fight is now underway. It's down from 1.5 to 1.3. Both guys dancing around a little bit. Aliskerov, certainly a big dude, not scared to get in the pocket. And he takes a left from Robert Whittaker. And what's going through Whittaker's head? This is not what he planned for. He planned to defend takedowns. He planned to be on the ground potentially at some fight. He prepared for a lot of power. And you have those, but I can tell you now just by looking. Oh, Whittaker lands a big right, and Ikram is out on his feet already. This is not good. He's in trouble. And big uppercut drops Aliskerov, and this is going to be it. It's over. Robert Whittaker. What I tell you, baby. What I tell you. He's lucky it ain't Hamza, because Hamza would have. And you could just. And I was just getting ready to say that it's clear to me, looking at these two guys, that Aliskerov is not Hamza Chimaev. Because the power is not there. The aggressive takedown ability is not there, at least against a guy like Whittaker. And Whittaker landed a big left, and immediately Aliskerov was out on his feet like this. And then Whittaker came in and boom with the big uppercut, and it's over. Yeah, so that's the way that one turned out. Robert Whittaker ends up getting the victory, and that was like a tune-up fight. And really good for Robert Whittaker because he stays active. He gets to win in the first round. He gets paid. He's got the momentum. And Hamza has been on the sidelines for 1.5 years. So that leads us back to Hamza versus Whittaker, right? An epic showdown between two great fighters. And everybody wants to know how good Hamza is. And I like that Whittaker won the way he did. Because if and when Hamza beats him, nobody can say anything. So without further ado, let's get into this prediction right now. In the middleweight division at UFC 308, your co-main event, a rebooked fight featuring Robert Whittaker versus Hamza Chimaev. Whittaker 27-7, Hamza still undefeated at 13-0. Hamza 2-inch height advantage at 6'2". He's 30. Hard to believe, no longer in the 20s. Robert Whittaker 33, both guys in the prime window right now. Hamza 1-inch reach advantage. Both guys stand right-handed. Hamza 5.7 significant strikes per minute. Whittaker 4.6. Hamza lands well over 1 takedown per round. Whittaker 1 takedown every 4 rounds. No big deal. So how's this fight going to play out? Now, they were supposed to fight previously. Hamza had to pull out about 10 days prior to the event. In steps Aliskerov. Robert Whittaker just dominates Ikram Aliskerov, a guy that was also undefeated and also kind of compared to Hamza, right? A guy that's on the rise that could potentially step in and beat Whittaker. It didn't go well. Whittaker dropped him early in the first round. It makes this fight even bigger, right? Hamza struggling as of late, right? He's still undefeated, but struggling to make the fights, having to pull out versus Robert Whittaker in the last fight, having to pull out against Leon several years ago. And, you know, he didn't look great against Usman, although he looked good in the first round, and he had an injury, according to him, which made sense. So you have all these things going on. And the bottom line is, can Hamza step in and be a lot better than Aliskerov? Absolutely. Will he have some octagon rust? Potentially. And that's not good against a guy like Robert Whittaker. It would have been better for Hamza to fight him previously. But Hamza gets more time, more practice. He's in the gym. He'll be 100%. Hopefully, because this is a fight that even if he has a minor hiccup, he's going to have to fight. So that's one of the scary factors here. But at the same time, you know me, Hamza is my number one guy, number one on the do list. We have no reason to believe he's going to fall here, and I'm glad that Whittaker dominated Aliskerov in the previous fight, because if Hamza, or when Hamza beats him, it makes it that much more important. Hamza fighting out of the UAE, Whittaker out of Australia. This fight goes to Hamza Chimaev, who will have major, major crowd support in this one. I look for him to get the finish in the first round. Yeah, I said it. To move to 14-0. In my opinion here, he'll drop him, likely by submission, to move to 14-0. Middleweight division. UFC 308. Yeah, so it's finally happening. And we got Hamza Chimaev winning this fight. And I know there's going to be people on all sides of the fence. But the bottom line is we got Hamza number one on the do list for a reason. And what that means is he beats everybody. Yeah, he beats John Jones too if he ever goes to heavyweight. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, he beats Alex Pereira if he ever goes to light heavyweight. Yeah, I said it. That's just how I feel about Hamza. I mean, the guy is literally unstoppable. I mean, he's literally unstoppable. And when you look into the chat room, you do got people all over the fence. Like Ivan I saying Whittaker, KO round 4. I respect it. Kenneth Bruner saying Super Bowl 100. Yeah, this is a Super Bowl. No doubt about it. Bruner saying he's training in the mountains. At altitude. Yes. No doubt about it. He's prepared for this fight. Colostrum weighing in early saying, what's up, bro? UFC 308 is going to be lit. Let's go. Fire. Yes, sir. No doubt about it. And I cannot wait to see Hamza fight. I just can't wait. And then pray he gets the victory, right? Just pray he gets the victory. Now, as we move into the main event, as we begin to wrap things up here, of course, this is going to take a little while because we got to first look at some of the fights leading up to this, like Max Holloway versus Justin Gaethje. So before we get into Topuria versus Holloway prediction, let's take a look back at Holloway's epic finish over Justin Gaethje. Check this out. And Max Holloway seems to be cruising to victory, though. He's got another minute to go. I mean, we're literally seeing it. Oh, my goodness. Let's go, Max. Let's go, Max. Keep it going now. Get out of there. And Max Holloway just pulling away, doubling up Gaethje, 148-70 in significant strikes. I mean, it's crazy. This is crazy. Unreal. Max lands another left-right combination. Gaethje really slowing down now, just basically just trying to get to the finish of this fight. That's all you can do is just get to the finish of this fight. But if you're Max, just stay out of trouble. Another spinning back kick. It's incredible. .45 seconds left. Oh, big right by Justin. It's like the KO power, even though you're watching him get dominated by Max Holloway, the KO power is always there. So it's like if you're Max, you just got to get across his finish line. Ooh, Max comes forward a flying knee. And every time you think Justin's just about to overpower Max, Max does something wild. Spinning back kick, flying knee. I mean, it's incredible. Final 13 seconds of this fight. What an incredible fight here. We're in the final. There's a tap. There's a tap. Oh, look at Max. He's saying they're standing right in the middle. He don't care. Look at this. He's standing. Oh, he drops Gaethje with 1 second left. Max Holloway finishes Gaethje with 1 second left, bro. This will go down as the most epic performance in UFC history. I'm telling you right now. Holy crap. And Max Holloway getting the job done there at the bell. Once it was so close, it was almost like maybe the ref's just going to let it go to a decision, which would have been terrible. But he finished him, hit him at 2 seconds. He went down. The fight's over with 1 second left. Incredible. Incredible. But that's a lightweight Max Holloway. This is going to be featherweight Max Holloway. Much lighter, much skinnier, and very tough for him to make weight. Now, as far as Ilia Topuria, he beat Alexander Volkanovski, as you know, to get here. And this is what it sounded like live. Ooh, nice right by Topuria. Look out. Volk felt that one. Oh! Volkanovski goes down. He's out. It's over. Oh, my God. Ilia Topuria KO'd Volkanovski, and the run is over. The run is over, and this might be it for Volkanovski, man. 2 KOs in a row, and I mean, this is a KO. This is bigger than Makhachev's KO, and Ilia Topuria is going to be the new featherweight champion, and people are losing their minds in the crowd. And just like that, the run is over. So Volkanovski's run comes to an end, and he took that fight too shortly after losing to Islam Makhachev, back-to-back KOs, and just a rough time for Volkanovski. And he's already saying after this fight, he's storming the octagon. He's demanding a title fight at UFC 312, which is like, what, February? So he's already talking about the rematch. He doesn't even want to fight anyone else, nor should he have to. He's the former champ. And he could argue that he should get a rematch, and he wouldn't be wrong. But the bottom line is, not right now. It's Max Holloway's chance to get the title back, and it's not going to be easy against Ilia Topuria. And I got these guys 7 and 8 on the due list. I had a big decision to make in this one because they're so close. And whoever I pick, I got to move them to the 7th spot if it's not Max Holloway. So let's get into it right now. In the featherweight division, for the featherweight division title, Max Holloway gets another shot. You got Ilia Topuria, 15-0. Taking on Max Holloway, who's 26-7. And this is like 6 versus 7, 7 versus 8, something like that on the due list. These are 2 of my guys, 2 of my favorite fighters, both excellent. So let's get into it. Max Holloway is going to be 4 inches taller at 5'11". He's 32, still in the prime window. Topuria entering the prime window at 27 years old. They both have a 69-inch reach, both stand right-handed. In terms of activity, Max Holloway, 7.2 significant strikes per minute to 4.4 for Topuria. Takedown game, that leans heavily towards Topuria, who gets like 2 every 3 rounds. So you're looking at 3 to 4 in this fight, potentially. So keep that in your hip pocket. Now, El Matador, a.k.a. Ilia Topuria, has a 92% takedown defense. So, and that's fine because Max Holloway wants to keep the fight standing anyway. He's coming off the big KO win versus Alexander Volkanovski in the 2nd round. Volkanovski led 47-35 in significant strikes. Before that, he beat Josh Emmett by decision, 152-87 in significant strikes, 3 takedowns to none. So he's rolling. Since he entered MMA, right? He's 15-0. I mean, it's incredible. How often do you see an undefeated champion? It's not every day. It happens, but it's not every day. Max Holloway, 84% takedown defense. He'll need every bit of that. He's coming off the huge win over Justin Gaethje, but that was a lightweight fight. So he's going to be much lighter here in the featherweights, from 155 down to 145, right? He won that by 5th round KO with 1 second left in the fight. Incredible. For that, he KO'd Korean Zombie. That was a featherweight division fight. Beat Arnold Allen. So, you think, okay, Max Holloway, maybe he's getting a little older. Is he slowing down? Heck no. The only concern in this fight that makes me blink is the fact that it's not lightweight, right? Lightweight, other than Islam Makhachev, I give Max Holloway a chance against anybody. Featherweight, when he goes down, he loses a little bit of that power. It's still there, right? He can still KO anybody, but the power is not quite the same. He doesn't look as strong. But nonetheless, we'll see. Maybe where he's at a higher strength, he cuts the weight and goes right back up to 155, 160. We'll see. But listen, I'm going to take one more chance on Max Holloway because I've been delaying this prediction for a month because these guys are neck and neck on the due list, meaning my favorite fighters, but also who I think is the best. They're neck and neck. I got Holloway 1 spot above Topuria, so I got to hold true. or I got to make the switch, and I'm going to hold true. I think Max Holloway is going to get the belt back here. He's almost a 2-1 underdog. I think he's going to do it with significant strikes. The strike game, he's going to defend takedowns well enough. Now, if he gets taken down and it goes to the ground and pound, this fight's probably over. But Max Holloway doesn't get finished very easily, if ever, right? So this fight, you would think, is going to go the distance. You would think. And if it does, Max Holloway's going to win this thing. I'd love to see him get the finish, but I think it goes the distance, and Max Holloway maybe even split decision, but he's going to get 2 judges to give him 3 rounds. He'll get the belt back in dramatic fashion to move to 27-7. Topuria falls for the first time. In fact, I think he just caught Volkanovski after the back-to-back fights against Islam. That's why Volk lost so easily. He just wasn't with it that night. But Topuria is really good and very capable of winning this fight. But we'll take Max Holloway here, featherweight division. Main event for the title at UFC 308. Yeah, and we're riding a 2-fight losing streak in the main event, so this one's crucial, and it's a tough pick because we all know how good Ilia Topuria is. But after seeing what Max Holloway did against Gaethje, even though it was a lightweight fight, I get it. This is featherweight. Max Holloway is much lighter, doesn't have as much power and strength. He's more of a lightweight fighter, has shown that he can win at the top of the division, and how he was not in the top 5 of the lightweight after that win is beyond me, when Gaethje has proven that he's beaten everyone below him. But nonetheless, here we go. We got Max Holloway fighting for the title once again. And as we said at the beginning of the show, this is Super Bowl weekend for the UFC. I mean, this is it, man. And I'm stoked. I'm beyond excited. I can't wait. It's going to be rough at 10 a.m. But hey, at least it's over by 4 or 5, right? That's how it goes. But listen, this is your boy Chris Cross. Until next time, hope you have a great day. And God bless, as always. Peace.